Alright guys, Fuller coming to you with another video. Shout out to the whole LWBC. So this just in, it looks like Dillian Whyte has been suspended by the WBC, and that's largely due to his failed drugs test. So he's no longer the interim champion for now. And his position as the WBC mandatory is also suspended. You know what they said, that in light of that adverse finding and pending the outcome of the WBC's own investigation and adjudicatory process, the WBC is provisionally suspending the WBC's recognition of Dillian Whyte as the WBC interim world heavyweight champion, mandatory challenger of the division. The WBC has notified Mr. Whyte and his team of the WBC suspension, and that it will afford Mr. Whyte the opportunity to present the position to the WBC and investigate the hearing, which takes place at and time to be announced in the near future. Now, unfortunately though, Rivas, they tried to I want to say dispute the results, but they weren't able to do so. So, this needs to happen, man. I'm telling you, this has to happen. And the reason why it has to happen is because, it's basically, it's basically you got to clean up the sport. And this is the only way you're going to clean up the sport. This is the only way you're going to clean it up, is that if you suspend these fighters, if you ban these fighters, if you do all of these things, you're going to clean up this sport, okay? Because they're gonna know what's at stake. They're gonna know that money is at stake. They're gonna know that a championship belt is at stake. They're gonna know that mandatory position is at stake. They're gonna know that their potential pay-per-view buys are at stake. So you have to do these things, man. And you know what I say about this whole situation? It goes to show you the crookedness of UK boxing and UK drug testing. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry to say it, bro, but they do things funny style over there. And I'm just being real. I'm just keeping it a buck, man. Because, even when I went over there to visit my uncle, I thought it was really funny style how they did things in their gyms, man. For real. It's almost like they took shortcuts to prepare for fights. You would literally see someone in their gym having a fight coming up, and then this fool is out somewhere doing something else, and the trainer is saying, oh, he'll be ready for the fight, no worries. You know what I mean? And for me, that what that tells me is that they're relying on their pharmaceuticals to make that readiness happen. That's just the way I look at it, man. I'm not trying to discredit all UK fighters and stuff like that, but I'm just saying, for the majority of what I see, how things work over there, I can't really get down with that. And the same thing goes for these UK fans. You're gonna support a dude, and I'm sad that there's some Dillian Whyte fans saying this, but you're gonna support a dude that basically not only was juiced to the gills, okay, that's not his only offense, but he also had illegal gloves. Okay, I just found this news out recently that his gloves were D-padded. So what that is telling me is this, that he was actually trying to go in there and hurt that guy. He was actually trying to go in there and put him out of commission for good, you know, and thank God he didn't. And the funny thing about it is that shows how pillow-fisted the nigga really is, too. You mean to tell me you couldn't knock out a guy or drop a guy with D-padded gloves? Yet you got dropped yourself. Come on now, man. You know, I've always said I've never thought highly of Dillian Whyte. I've never considered Dillian Whyte a legitimate heavyweight. I've never considered him a world-class heavyweight fighter. I've always said this dude is basically average. You know, I've always had this notion of that, you know. I've always said UK competition-wise, he may be up there, but when he gets to America, that shit's gonna stop. And no wonder he didn't want to fight in America, because he knows the drug laws are very, very, very strict here. I'm sorry to say it, bro, but UK fighters, and this is gonna offend a lot of people, but there's only a handful of UK fighters who can actually cut it in the United States. You know, there's not many. There's a very, very small ratio of UK fighters who can actually come here and actually make it. The ones who usually come here and actually make it, they're cut from something different, you know. And so when I say that to say that this needs to be done. And this means that the British anti-doping board needs to clean up their act too. They really need to clean up their act and stop making things so lax, you know, and promoters as well. You know, I'm not just gonna say Eddie Hearn, but he's at fault too, because he was just looking out for his pockets more than he was someone else's life, which shows you what kind of character he is. So, I mean, if you're assigned to Eddie Hearn, man, you need to jump ship. For real. You really need to jump ship. You know, I'm going to still support my guy, Demetrius Andrade, Birdie strong, you know, but if I were him, I would rethink, you know, being signed to Eddie Hearn. You know, because if you're attached to that guy, it goes to tell me, like, it goes to show me that, you know, you're around a real shady character. For real, for real. And it's not just Eddie Hearn, it's Frank Warren too. He was trying to come to defense of Billy Joe Saunders when we know Billy Joe Saunders was juiced to the gills to cut weight. He was trying to come through his excuse saying, oh, he's innocent, oh, he's this, that, and the other. But nah, man, I ain't buying that crap, man. You can't do that. We just had 2 deaths of fighters. So yeah, I want that to happen. I want them to sit his ass down, right? Ban him for 6 years, and then he can rethink what he's doing. You know? Same thing with Big Baby Miller. You know, Big Baby Miller is the same way. You know, and it's just ridiculous, man, at this point in time that, you know, you still got these dudes trying to cheat and getting away with it. So now the question remains, when Dillian Whyte knocked out Chisora, was he juiced to the gills then? You know, one has to ask that. We also have to look at how that dude fights, that he's just a dirty overall character. Okay, I'm just saying he's dirty overall. Let's look at how he fights, from how he pulls up his shorts to make it look like it's a low blow, but it's really not a low blow. He's really getting hit in the navel, to how he does these headlocks and everything like that, you know. so he can get the points taken off when the dude's punching at his navel and the referee is saying, okay, we got to remove points because he's doing too many low blows, but they're not really low blows. And I'm mostly talking about these UK refs because this dude hasn't fought outside of the UK, you know. So, you know, that's all my spill on it, man. I'm glad that this dude's getting his spot taken and they're suspending it. You know, WBC is still We Be Crooks, but at least they're kind of like taking like some kind of initiative to do the right thing. You know what I mean? And that's how I feel about it, man. Fool is signing out, man. Leave your thoughts, leave your comments. Let me know what you think. What should be done. Let me know if you still think that Deontay Wilder should say, oh, if he's juiced to the gills or not. I'm still going to knock his head square off. Let me know if you think that. You know, let me know if you want to see that still. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't mind seeing it because the moment Deontay Wilder sleeps him is the moment that his boxing career is now just based in the UK only, you know. But anyhow, man, that's all I got. Foolish signing out. Enjoy on.